Hello, everybody. What's going on? It's your boy. I'm back. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. I apologize for my voice. It's pretty gone. I've been like holding on to not being sick. I had my body was held together by tape and gum for the New York vacation I had. I just refused to be sick. And now I'm home. Dude, I'm pretty sick. Those flights here, I was pretty congested. Didn't feel good. Anyway, hope you really enjoyed Worlds. I sure did. Had a very good time again. I think both the last 2 years have been really great events. The esports arena in Arlington is pretty good. I like it. The fans who come out, I saw a lot of people who I saw last year. Quite a lot of people who hadn't gone last year and decided to come this year. And I don't know, it's so cool. It's so cool meeting everybody. And I hope it continues for many years to come with Smite too. But that's a different Havering, I suppose. But yeah, the tournament was run pretty well. In terms of the arena, everything went pretty smoothly, I think. I think things were smoother this year when they had the earlier ticket pickup for everyone. Sorry for moving the mic. I know people get annoyed at that. Maybe the cam, I mean. Sorry. The tech pauses that we had at the arena were not the fault of the arena. I'll just say what they were. One of them, well, several of them were because I believe specifically Coast, but the Dragons ruined some headsets when they won. And the other one, there was a bug at one point where I think it was the first game of the first set on the first day. The dual lane hit level 2 off of the start. You know how you get to lane and you kill one minion and you hit 2? They were 2 when they got to lane. The XP numbers were wrong on the build they were playing on, so I was unlucky. But I think it was a really good tournament overall. We got a best of 5 semi. We got a we got a 5-game semi and a 5-game final, which is pretty sick. I don't know if we've ever had that before. I feel like the answer is no, but maybe I'm forgetting. Maybe season 1 or something. I don't know. Don't know off the top of my head. I'm not looking it up. We're havering more than I do have some notes. And I also have my notepad. I'm sorry. I feel like for people at the event, this is going to be specifically to you. Sorry I wasn't around as much as I was last year. Holy. I'm going to drink some tea. One sec. Sorry I wasn't around as much as I was last year. I was really working hard on trying to be super on top of everything in terms of my analysis this year. I filled this full notebook almost just during the event. It's got like 10 pages that are not filled, but going into each matchup, I had things like this where I could see the gods that were picked by each player and each team, stuff like that. I was trying to be really set up because I didn't have one of those laptops. They didn't let me have one. Didn't trust me, caveman, Scotsman, to have a laptop. But I worked really hard this year. I don't know if that showed more than last year, to be honest, but I did. There you go. I don't have the energy. Anyway, let's go through the tournament team by team. Let's go through how it went. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna barely talk about the teams who got eliminated first round. I feel like Scarabs just struggled. They'd shown too much of what they wanted to do going into the tournament. Kings actually could have won. They were decent. I think Captain Twig in particular had a very good event. He was by far the best he'd been all year. They just didn't quite have it in them, I think, to beat the Oni Warriors. But they played pretty well. Ravens could have won their set against the Dragons. I know they went down 2-0. But they competed in game 1 especially. They kind of threw it. I was after the Dragons threw, and then the Ravens threw, and then the Ravens threw again, I think. Something like that. And then game 2, I mean, I hated their draft game 2, to be honest. I thought they were always going to lose. I think that, late game, Surtur falls off a fucking cliff and is kind of dog ass. And Mambo, they took a game off the Levi's, right? That was them. And then got goose-egged in game 3. But yeah, let's talk more about the teams that made it to semis. I have some notes for this. I'm ready. Ferryman crumbled under the pressure of the Jade Dragons. Pretty surprising for a team this tenured to do that. I just feel like I'm gonna go to my notes for this set. I want to see what their picks were. They had so little depth, you know. You look at this. Baskin played 3 gods: Wukong, Amaterasu, Thor. Sino played 3 gods: Thor, Maman, Rat. Paul played 3 gods: Vulcan, Set, Toth. This is all the gods, right? Should be 7. Yeah, I got 7 games there. Aurora played 2 gods: Sobek and Ganesh. Cyclone played 3 gods, and one of those was Freya. Not a real god. On the other side, the Dragons were mixing it up, and they had so much more in the locker, it felt like, in the set. They mixed it up so much more, and because of that, they were more dangerous. Oh, PBM did play. He played Atlas in this set as well, didn't he? And he won with it. Crazy. Coast only played Hachiman and Jing, but everybody else was going around the place. Like, I think in Game 5, they mixed it up big time. Was Game 5 not like Maman, jungle, Erlang mids, Kepri support? 3 things that I don't think they'd played the entire set up to that point. I'm sorry. Oh, this is a disaster. Why am I doing this? But anyway, I think the Ferrymen came in with a plan, and they were too unwilling to waver from that plan as the like meta evolved in their set. And I think that's why they lost. I think if they put Baskin on something lane dominant and tried to contest Nika, tried to stop the momentum that the Dragons were clearly getting, I think they would have had a much better shot. But I mean, what a team the Ferrymen were. When they went 2-0 up, I was very worried that we were going to see them like sweep Worlds, but they get reverse swept. The Dragons break the curse. Pretty epic. Leviathans, I did not love... Let me go to the next page. I'll have their drafts. I didn't like their drafts very much overall, honestly. They played a lot of weird stuff that I don't think was particularly good. Stuff like Cerberus and Uller in particular were the ones that I was like, I don't really know. On Cucullin as well, I don't really know if these gods are good. I don't know if you should be playing them. They felt to me like a team who had bad practice coming into the event. They like played super early game, early pressure meta. And these guys are old enough and ugly enough to know that that does not carry over to Worlds. It never does. I feel like a team makes this mistake every single year. They like run scrims by playing early pressure and dominate, and teams make silly mistakes against them. And they gain 10k gold leads on other teams' F6, and they don't play out the late game, and you don't get good practice. I feel like this happens to teams every year. And this year, I think it was the Leviathans' turn. I didn't mind their Wheelix Nox stuff that they did at one point, but I think overall, yeah, just didn't like their drafts. I feel like they had the worst handle on the meta of the top 4. I didn't love the way they played. I think they played a Kuzumbo game as well. Does Rongyu... I'm sorry, I've never seen Rongyu play Kuzumbo before that moment. But yeah. Warriors, I guess, next. They were the team that finished second. I thought they were very good. Oh, this is clean. Oh, did I not have... Oh, I have the drafts. At this point, I went to like page per draft. Anyway... The mistakes for Warriors, I'm not really sure. They started slow. I feel like they got like Omega owned by the Athena getting let through and then them losing with it. I think that like totally owned their prep, which is a really like, it's a big risk to take in the game 1 of a final, but I do love it that the Dragons did it. It's like, you know, this god's been perma-banned in scrims. We've not, like maybe they've not seen... in all their practice against the Oni Warriors, they've not seen the Oni Warriors play it support. Maybe they've only played it jungle, and they're like, okay, we can beat that. And they give it to them, and it goes late game, and they just had this like no damage Athena, and they just get owned. I don't know. Where's game 1? I had my drafts in the wrong order. Yeah, they took the Hachiman away, which I think was exactly the right thing to do. Dardes got his Kukulkan, which turned out to be a problem. But yeah, I think the Athena getting through and not doing well kind of owned Oni's preps. It was interesting that Dragons didn't want to pick it either. They must have just thought we've not practiced it enough, so we're not gonna take it. I wouldn't have been surprised to see them maybe run it in the jungle. But yeah, I felt like with the games going late, it didn't work particularly well in the jungle just because you didn't end up with enough damage, I don't think. Um, I felt like late game that Oni's draft, they had what did they have? They had Athena, Hachi, Tiamat, Ganesh, Amma. I don't know. I just felt like they couldn't kill the Osiris late game, right? He was Omega tanky, unable to be touched. And the Dragons, I feel like, just had the most in their wheelhouse. I think that's why they won the tournament. They had so much stuff they could play. What did they do? Let's pull up the Game 5 draft. Where's that one? Is this it here? Yeah, Hachi, Osiris, Merlin, and then so great top three regular picks. Then they're just like, fuck it, we'll slam Atlas Pele bottom two and play Pele the whole tournament. Game 5 of Worlds Final. They're like, okay, it's time, Laspra, pick it up. I know I'm not a big fan of Atlas and Pele, but I think the reason that the Jade Dragons won is just because they had the balls to do that kind of thing. And then when they picked that comp, they played that comp. They just ripped everything, which I thought was super cool. I really liked that they were able to make those calls and stick to them as a team. I think that's underrated how difficult that is to do, to play off that momentum and feed off of it like they did. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall listening to them talk. You know, they went 2-0 up, obviously, went back to 2-2. I would have loved to hear them talk going into Game 5. I also think that the Oni Warriors made a big draft mistake in giving up the Hachi Man first pick. I think it was so obvious that because of the way Coast had played in the last two games, because of the way that Netroid was playing sick, I think that giving Coast the Hachi Man was like, I don't know if they switched that up, if it would have made a difference, but I think that was a horrible draft mistake by them. I would have definitely like given up the Daji or something instead. I don't know why they banned Afro, Kukulkan, Daji for the record. I think Afro I can understand, Kukulkan I can understand for sure. I think Afro you maybe could have left. But Daji, I think you definitely could have dropped that ban and and banned the Hachi instead. But yeah, Jade Dragons earned it. I made me and every other wannabe analyst. Well, I mean, some of you wannabe analysts probably got it right, but I feel like everybody who tried to predict what was going on in this tournament got it pretty damn wrong. I had Oni Warriors winning the whole thing, so I wasn't far off, at least. But, I mean, I feel pretty far off with Dragons having won it the way they did. But sometimes a team just shows up. You got to show up one weekend a year, right? And this was their weekend, and they earned it. And I'm really happy for them all. I think that's, I think it's sick that those guys, I mean, most of them got their first ring. PBM got his second. I feel like it was hard earned, and I feel like, yeah, they just about sorted their sieging out in time. I feel like they had it figured out. They were super composed in the final as well, and in the semi. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Right. I've havered on for long enough. I should go, like, have a bath or something. I don't know. I also haven't slept yet. It's 1 p.m. UK time. Traveled overnight, obviously, so I guess it feels like 8 a.m. for me. So that's good. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the highlights videos if you haven't. The one that Bahi's been editing those. I think the semi-final is particularly sick. We have the finals coming up sometime later on. I don't know, maybe later on this week, maybe starting next week. Oh, no, it's Sunday. Probably not this week. Probably sometime next week. We'll see, though. But yeah, check out those videos if you haven't already. They're super sick. I'm going to have a couple more haverings coming. I took some notes on the plane over. I watched all those. I watched Twigs, Vens, Haddix's video, and Genetics, I guess, videos on like Smite 2 competitive and what's going on with that. So I'm going to do a little talk about that also at some point. And yeah, I'm going to try and stay awake for another 7 hours and then pass out and go work tomorrow. So wish me luck, everybody. I'm working from home. I'm not going to go into an office, thankfully. But yeah, it's grimithy out here. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Hope you had a great Worlds. And I'll see you next time.